All right, what's up, guys? It's Justin back with another Fractal Radio. Today I'm talking with Joseph from Red Door Digital, who is the founder of a game called Reign of Terror. Joseph, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Justin. Yeah, doing great. How's everything going with you?
It's great. It's great. So tell me about Reign of Terror. What kind of game is it? Um, Give us like the 30-second overview.
Sure. So, Reign of Terror is a turn-based tactical RPG, kind of in reminiscent of XCOM. That basically you're a person who controls a squad of agents, and we incorporate a lot of different types of NFTs in the game, including the agents you play with, the equipment and weapons you can craft later on, as well as lands that we'd be releasing later on as well. And so basically, it's the main combat loop. You basically go through missions. You control a squad of up to three agents, and these are PVE missions. You go through the world of Reign of Terror, but later on we would be actually adding asynchronous PvP missions, crafting, as well as guild and alliance battles later on.
Awesome. XCOM was one of my favorite games.
Oh,
Both the
awesome.
original one, like
Yeah.
when I was growing up, and then the new version that they created for mobile. And so I sunk must be like dozens of hours at least into
Oh,
XCOM and XCOM
cool.
2.
Well, especially and then you saying you like Reign of Terror means a lot more since you
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
are an
So
XCOM fan. Yeah.
I'm an XCOM fan, and I played through the demo. It was like super fun. I really loved the different character classes, and I think I took the guy with the swords and the guy with the sniper and the healer. And it was like, it was kind of fun to be able to. It was very reminiscent of XCOM, and like, I don't know. It was just like it was great. I want more XCOM, so this is perfect.
Awesome. And we do plan on releasing a lot more agents. I mean, obviously you played a kind of a pre-alpha demo, but we have a ton more agents coming out, and we do plan on releasing limited agents every month. Having a season pass. I mean, there's a lot we'll be doing with that. So
Awesome. So it's like the game's going to be a little bit more like live and dynamic than XCOM. It sounds like you're going to release
yeah,
more
I mean, we're going
stuff.
to go for free to play. That's the idea right now. And then I think the idea is that we would have like the on-chain portions of the game available with the PFPs. So we have a mining game as well as an auto battler that actually uses the full game assets and animations, and then the full game itself would be free to play. So the goal is to actually attract a lot of regular gamers who are kind of not into blockchain actually, and then when they play it, we'd be able to abstract the Web3 wallet as well as like an inventory management system, and then later on they'd actually be able to mint NFTs if they want. But they can own the assets off chain, like a regular game. But then, some of it you'd be able to mint if they actually wanted to interact, on it with a secondary marketplace, trade with each other and whatnot.
Yeah, that's something we've thought about a lot at Fractal. I'm sure we've talked to the team about it, but we've been building a lot of like mint on demand APIs and stuff like that because we think that my experiences with the regular gaming world, right? And I've watched a lot of people build mobile games and games in the Web 2 games, and those games were all about it's all about reducing the friction of onboarding, and so getting people to play free to play, and then and making it a super seamless to try, and then enabling them to you know invest in the crypto side once they understand that like what these what the game is, and they're invested in the game. I think that's the wave that's going to be of what that's going to carry Web3 games, I think.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially with free to play games, because there's some people put a lot into mobile games, but they don't really get much back. So the way I'm viewing it is we're basically just giving back to the community because well if you've played like for me I've played a lot of Magic the Gathering before. I've played a lot of MMOs. I've been in the game industry for around 11 years right now. So I was actually over at like Tencent and NetEase, um, working mostly on publishing for Asian developers, publishing in North America and Europe. So you could see how a lot of people, a lot of time people put into these games. They put in a lot of money, but they don't really get anything back. Now, of course, you get some entertainment, but unless you're on the esports level or you're actually live streaming, you can't really get any of that actual. real world value that can feed you. So we want to actually create like fun experiences that people want to play. Not everyone's going to play just to, let's say, earn something, but people actually want to play and have fun. But we can just translate some of that value into real world value instead of having to necessarily be an esports competitor or
Yeah.
have millions of subscribers already.
How do you think about creating a durable market for that value, like the NFTs and the stuff in the game?
Yeah, so I think everything we like have with that, I think the more, I guess, utility we can have for that, whether that's like online or also offline, I think all of that just contributes to forming a deeper community. Because if you look at Eve Online, for example, that's been around for quite a while, and even though I mean, they tend to stay pretty stable, but that community is extremely hardcore. And I think
Yeah.
the more we can actually just where these NFTs, can give you a lot of benefit, both in the game and out of the game. I think the better it'll be.
Cool. So tell me more about your background and how you decided to start this kind of game. Like a turn-based
Yeah, sure.
RPG.
So for me, I first started playing games, at 6. It was like Nintendo, Super Mario, Duck Hunt, type of things. Played like SimAnt, SimCity, got all the way to basically playing a lot of fighting games, MMOs, so like EverQuest, Ultima Online, World of Warcraft, etc. Last one I played was New World last year. Last game I beat was Elden Ring. So I don't have that much time to play now, but uh, basically most of it's been, I worked in the Bay Area, but then I spent about 7 years in China, just because I worked with a lot of overseas developers, and I kind of wanted to understand, that kind of the difference between different regional players, basically. But through that, I also got into crypto 2017, and then especially with COVID, I started just really thinking about it. Like when I was playing certain card games online, that I was paying retail, but there's nothing I can really do about it, right? Unless you trade on the black market. And I was just thinking that's not really a good way to approach things. And of course, CCGs are kind of a clear, easy translation over to Web3. But I thought a lot of other games could also do that, especially like MMOs and or games that don't have as much of a like as much friction to get in, but can actually have more like MMO systems built out later on for that long term retention. I thought that would like can really fit Web3. So I kind of combine it both, and I formed the studio last year. I brought my CTO on, who I knew for several years in Shenzhen, but he actually was over at EA before. He was a technical director for the online initiative that turned into EA Origin, and then we
Oh,
brought
cool.
on like we poached our technical director from Facebook who was over at Crytek before. So now our goal is to actually become a publisher of Web3 games. So Reign of Terror is kind of the our baby, the first one we're developing, and we want to get it out there. But eventually, we actually want to help out a lot of other developers, with publishing in different countries, as well as designing everything out in a sustainable manner for their games. And then we actually have our own game engine too, which we've been developing for several years. That can actually load, basically like you've tried Reign of Terror, that it can load those type of graphics on web. So
Yeah.
we're not really trying to promote that right now so much, but that is something. So basically, what you tried was the game on Unreal 4, but we do want to get that on our engine. We hope to get that in a few months, with additional content. So we're excited about these things, and we think it'll contribute to our ability to publish games later on.
Awesome. And so tell me about the roadmap for Reign of Terror and how you plan to release it.
Yeah, so the you tried the kind of locked version, but we plan on getting it on the engine, and then we plan on having a version 1 next. I mean, first quarter next year. So it's not going to have all the features, but we do plan on having the most of the core features, like everything outside of combat. So the leveling, basic crafting, hopefully some basic PvP, and then we plan on just adding more content updates to it. as we every month basically.
Awesome. And you're launching an NFT, the first NFT collection soon, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So this, we wanted to showcase some of the characters in the game, and we thought like a PFP would be a pretty good way of doing that. Since of course we've seen a lot of PFPs come and go, but we still wanted to keep that social aspect. But what it does is you're able to actually use it in the on chain games. So you're able to use an on chain mining game, and from that we actually produce more NFTs, which you're able to trade on secondaries. You're able to use it in our auto battler, and then those produce more items that you're able to use in the full game. So
Gotcha.
basically, we're trying to make this as valuable as possible, and then people can use it, both for the on-chain games as well as the full game.
So it's kind of like a mini game to create resources for the full game.
Yeah, you could say it's a mini game. We actually we branded it as like Reign of Terror Awakening and Uprising, so we do have it
Yeah.
as part of the story. But yeah, you could view it as mini games, almost like a companion app.
Cool. Awesome. And what are the yeah, it's characters, NFT like characters that we're selling in the launch.
Yeah, so for the Genesis drop, we're just selling the PFPs, and the
Yep.
PFPs basically give you early access to the mining game. We do plan on releasing agents a little bit later on, though we're still deciding the actual number, because we are adding fusion into the game. So we're still kind of finalizing the tokenomics for like how we do the agents, and how we make it available off chain and what you could mint. But the goal is to at least make the agents deflatable. I mean, deflationary, so you're able to burn those as much as possible. We kind of want to emphasize the collection aspect of the game.
And so, like, tell me about like what are the agents and like what are you like how do you anticipate people collecting them?
Sure. So basically, the core gameplay of Reign of Terror is you control a squad of up to three agents, and each agent has unique skills, as well as like unique armor and weapons, and they also have like different damage types, damage resistances. And so we want the player to, as you're going through a mission, we want them to think about who they include in their squad, so that there's like a lot of different missions that might have different objectives, different types of enemies to fight, as well as later on with PvP. We want people to really think about how they create that squad. So, part of it is how you control the squad, but the other part is the whole creation of it. And we want people to have all these different combinations of squads, to add a lot more depth to the strategy of the
And
game.
some of these uh, character types or archetypes or like weapons and stuff will be more on the rare side, and it'll be harder to collect, I guess. Is
Yeah,
that
so the way we have it set up is there's different rarities for each agent. So you're gonna be able to level up the agent in the game, and then if you want to increase its rarity, you'd have to burn multiple agents together, and then it would actually re-render the NFT as a rarer version of it. And we actually have different. It gives it a different skin basically as well.
then the once you do this drop, like this is this it for agents, or you think there'll be like future drops of agents?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we want to seed the marketplace with some more basic agents for people to try, but we also plan on letting people, collect agents off chain and eventually mint them later on. And then we
Gotcha.
do plan on releasing at least a new agent every month.
Cool. Love that.
Yeah, so it's a lot of animation, a lot of everything, but we do want to continue to support like with content updates every month, basically.
Awesome. And so people can find out about the mint at your page on Fractal, right?
Right.
Fractal.com/reign of terror. Tell us a little bit about the lore of the games. We didn't go into that.
So the what we initially created was from our basically our creative director had an idea that he kind of wanted to combine a lot of the things he had encountered in his travels. He was a digital nomad in Southeast Asia for about 3 years with Cyberpunk. So basically, we wanted to kind of incorporate some level of different Asian like cultural influences in the game, but also keep so it's kind of has that feudalistic aspect, but then it has cyberpunk technology. So basically, everyone's under the emperor. And the emperor controls basically the daily lives of people, and then the different cities have like huge mega towers, and then the more affluent people live at the top, which is above all the pollution, and then the lower you go, the worse it gets. And then you start getting more gangs, and eventually gets into cultists. So we do have like a lot of these different factions, within the government, within the gangs, like within cultists, like even in neutrals, kind of just fighting it out, kind of carve their own corner of this world.
Gotcha. Awesome. It was cool. I love the graphics when I was playing it. It was fun. It was kind of XCOM reminiscent, but with that cyberpunk theme.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're fans of XCOM for sure.
Cool. So, anything else you want to cover that we didn't talk about that's coming up for you?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot being developed for this. I mean, with the two on-chain games, we also want to further just develop this as an IP as much as possible. So if in the future you might see us on Netflix, might have a pilot episode of Reign of Terror later on. So it's just something we've been wanting to develop, because we also think for Web3 right now it's also a good time to create your own IPs. So on the studio side, we heavily like value IPs, whether that's existing IPs or creating your own IP. So it's
Yeah, I
something we
think
do plan on like supporting for an extreme, very long time, for this type of game.
awesome. And where can people find out more about Reign of Terror?
Yeah, you could hang out on our Discord by going to our Twitter, which is at ROT the game, and then we have a link to Discord. Or you can also just check us out, reignofterror.io, or you can also just check us out on Fractal
All
on our game
right.
page. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll drop the links below. Joseph, thanks so much. This is pretty cool. I love playing the game. I can't wait for it to be PvP. Me and Brent and I were playing, and I really wanted to battle him.
Oh, well, we
So
want PvP as well.
yeah,
Well,
so that
yeah, we can't wait to add that. Yeah, we're
that'll
working
be
on it.
fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us, and we'll look forward to the mint.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Justin.